Hello everybody, how are you? Welcome to Instagram. Wait for people to join us. So today we're going to try and explain as best as I can about I'm going to try and explain a little bit about British humour, which could be quite difficult, but I will try and explain. Hi, yeah, thanks for joining. Nice to see you. I can't see you, but nice anyway. Okay, so I'm going to try and explain because somebody asked how to understand English jokes and the English sense of humour. I'm afraid I have a helper who's just sitting with me for a few minutes, but she's promised to be quiet. So we're going to try and explain how... You're terrible. How this works and how we have a sense of humour. And hi, I'm afraid I have a helper with me at the moment. She's going crazy because she's been shut in the house all day. So Myrtle, you should be quiet. So English sense of humour is difficult to understand, and I'd imagine it's the same. I probably wouldn't understand Russian sense of humour either, because the language is difficult to understand, and then it's difficult to understand when something is... She is very cute, yes, but she's also very cheeky. It's also difficult to understand when we're being serious and when we're joking, because we often make jokes which don't seem funny, and we think it's funny, but to other people it might seem rude or yeah, just unkind maybe. So I'm going to try and explain the different types of humour that we use, and hopefully it will help, but it's quite tricky. Okay, so the first thing to understand is that English people use a lot of sarcasm. Do you know what sarcasm is? So it's for example, if it was raining, you know, if it was terrible weather outside, it's raining, and you'd walk past someone, you'd say, "Oh, what a great day," or "a lovely day." So you're being sarcastic because obviously it's a terrible day. But you'd say, "Oh, lovely day," or "great weather we're having." And this would be like a joke, like a stupid joke. It's not funny. But that's what we do all the time. We're sarcastic. So we say things that aren't true or are obviously wrong to make a joke out of it. So yeah, sarcasm is used a lot, and often if you listen to people talking to each other, people who are supposed to be friends, and you might hear them making comments and being sarcastic, and you think, I don't know, maybe these people don't even like each other, but it's just our way of, you know, making a joke out of something. We also make a lot of understatements. So again, with the example of the weather, so it's you know, it's really raining a lot, the weather's really terrible, and somebody might say, "Oh, it's a bit wet today," like an understatement, because it's obviously terrible weather. So, "Oh, you know, there's a drop of rain," when it's tipping down. So we make understatements about things as well. I think I have a comedian on my lap as well. So sarcasm is a big thing. So we say things that we don't mean, or say things that aren't real or true, and we make understatements about things. Okay, and then we have what we call, I don't know if you've heard of this or if you even know the expression, but people talk about banter between friends. So when you're talking to each other in England, it's like a joking conversation. So and we do what we say to take the mickey out of each other, to make a joke out of your friends that you're talking to. And sometimes it seems unkind when you say something which seems unkind, or you know, not very friendly, but you're saying it in a joking way. So you're making jokes at each other, making fun of each other. So we say to make fun of each other. And if it's your friends understand. And you wouldn't do this with somebody you didn't really know. You wouldn't do it to a stranger. But you would with your friends, you know. But for other people listening to this conversation, and for people from another country hearing the way we speak to each other, you'd think, oh, those people are having an argument, or they're being really unkind to each other. But they're not, we're just joking. It's just the way, it's just, and people call this banter. It's like a joking conversation. So teasing, you know, to tease, I don't know if you know, to tease or to take the mickey out of each other. And we say, take the mickey. Take the mickey or pull someone's leg. Sit down, please. Okay. So these are things we do in general conversation. We're very sarcastic. What is the difference between to appreciate and value? When you... well, you can appreciate someone or something, means that you can see the good they've done. So if you appreciate what somebody has done, you are thankful for it. And what they have done has value. You value what they have done. So it's a similar meaning. You say you value that person, or you value what they have done, in the same way, and that just means that you appreciate it. You're glad they've done it, or you understand they've done something good. Okay? So, if somebody helps me, I would say, I really appreciate your help, but I could also say I really value your help, meaning your help is very important to me. Okay? So it's like it's worth a lot to me. It means a lot to me if you help me. I value it. Okay? But you can use them in a similar way. You can say I appreciate your friendship, or I value your friendship. Okay, does that make sense? Is that okay? Okay, hopefully. Okay, so another thing that we do that I was saying is we also we laugh at ourselves a lot. So we talk about ourselves, and I don't know if you know the. Oh, sorry, to be sarcastic, and so. And then sarcasm is the noun. Yeah, so you say somebody is sarcastic as an adjective, and sarcasm is the noun. Okay, is that what you mean? I think that's what you mean. Okay, so we also put ourselves down. So we laugh at ourselves a lot. We make jokes about ourselves. So we do that a lot. When we are joking, you know, we say, so we take the mickey out of other people, our friends, you know, we joke about and say, oh, you know, look at you, look at what you've done. If somebody trips over, we might laugh at them if it's your friend. But we also laugh at ourselves quite a lot, and we joke about our things that we do that we think are silly or ridiculous. So we just laugh at ourselves. Okay, so I'm going to try and explain some jokes, because the way to understand, I think, English jokes, things like puns and, do you know what a pun is? I don't know. What do you recommend to watch? To help you understand humour. Okay, so it's a good question. So there are things which are like, I think, easy humour to understand might be things like British, like sitcoms. Do you know what a sitcom is? So we have sitcoms, which are like comedy about, and it's sort of like daily life. It's short for situation comedy. So it's like a TV program about daily life, but it's funny. You No, so it's like about people and their daily life. Be quiet if you sit here.
Why?
Because I said so. So it's about people with their daily lives, but they make it funny. Okay, so it's like they tell jokes and it's funny within itself. So it's a funny story. But if you watch stand-up comedy, so stand-up comedy are comedians obviously who just stand with a microphone and tell jokes. It can be difficult to understand. So, but I love watching stand-up comedy. But I know when I have taught people and try to show stand-up comedy, sometimes it is very difficult to follow because they talk very quickly. So it depends on your level. If your level is quite good and you find it easy to understand people when they talk quickly, then you can use stand-up comedy. But if you find that difficult, then I would say a sitcom or something would be easier. Okay, but it depends what you like. Some stand-up. I'm going to explain this. Why my daughter is sitting with me today. We have in England, I don't know if you, I know in Russia it's not such a big thing, but in England at the moment we have coronavirus, and yesterday we were told that if we had a cough or a temperature, we have to stay in our house for 7 days. And so today my daughter has a cough and she wasn't allowed to go to school, and we've had to stay in the house all day.
Don't forget about my new magnifier.
Yeah, she's got a new toy. And so that is why she is sitting with me today, because she's going crazy in the house and she's very bored and she's had a long day. So we're not allowed to leave the house, so she's sitting here. So I apologise that she's joining in today. But we are isolated for 7 days. So I think we will be going mad. Okay, so what I was going to try and do was explain how we use puns. A pun is like a play on words. So we use, if you've heard of homophones, they are words that sound the same but have a completely different meaning. So we have lots of jokes which use homophones to make them funny. And you have to understand the vocabulary to be able to understand the joke. So, I'm going to tell you some terrible jokes. These are really bad jokes. So they're the kind of jokes that we have in, I don't know, in Russia, do you have Christmas crackers? So we have Christmas crackers that you pull at Christmas, and inside is a joke. And the joke...
And I had this little flat thingy, and I have faces in it that full face, funny faces.
Myrtle loves Christmas crackers. So in the Christmas crackers there's always a terrible joke. And we say, oh dear, this is an awful joke. And these are called...
And a toy.
And a toy, yes. And these are called puns. So, and they mainly use homophones. So homophones are words that sound the same and have... They can be spelt differently, but they have the same meaning. So, for example, two, T-O, T-O-O, and number two. They are homophones. Two, and two. There, and there. They are homophones, okay? So I'm going to tell you a joke. They are bad, these jokes. And then I will explain. So, really bad joke to start off with is a joke. And it says, what is brown and sticky? Okay, and the answer is a stick. It's terrible. So the reason this is a joke, it's not that funny, is because the word stick and sticky has two meanings. So a stick is from a tree. You know, a small branch from a tree is a stick. But sticky can also mean like glue. Glue is sticky. So the question is, what's brown and sticky? And people think, I don't know, mud or something disgusting, brown and sticky, like something horrible. But then they say, oh, a stick. because it's brown and it's sticky. So you have to understand the vocabulary. It's not funny. I'm terribly sorry about these jokes. Another one I had was, what do you call a deer with no eyes? So a deer with no eyes. The answer is no idea. Terrible. So a deer is an animal. You know a deer with antlers? A deer is the animal. So a deer with no eyes, and the answer is no idea. No idea. Like when you say I have no idea, it's like I don't know. Okay, again, so that's a play on words. I'm sorry. Right. The other one, oh, okay, this is one pun. A good egg every morning is hard to beat. Okay, so a good egg, you know, an egg that you eat in the morning is hard to beat. So what that could mean is, if something is hard to beat, it means it's really good and you can't find anything better than this. Like you say, oh, that's hard to beat, it means it's excellent. You can't do anything better than that. So, but also, hard to beat could mean hard, like difficult, to beat. And when you beat an egg, like this, when you know when you crack an egg and then you beat it, like this. I don't know why I made that noise. So you beat the egg. So it's two meanings, again. So a good egg in the morning is hard to beat. I know these aren't funny. I do apologise. I'm just trying to...
I laugh at them.
Oh, Myrtle thinks they're funny. She's 4. Okay. I'll give you one more. Which would be... okay. Oh, this is... Yeah, I quite like this one. I was struggling to understand how lightning worked. Then suddenly it struck me. No? So, I was struggling to understand how lightning works. So it's good to have somebody that laughs at your jokes. Okay, enough. So lightning, like this in the sky, you're trying to understand how lightning works. And then suddenly it strikes you. So if something lightning strikes is when it hits a person or an object. You know, when lightning hits something, lightning strikes. Okay, but then if you say if something suddenly strikes you, it means that you suddenly realise you have the answer. Ah, it struck me. If you say yesterday I was in town when it struck me that I had forgotten to buy the newspaper. It's like I suddenly thought about it.
Pineapples.
Or a pineapple. It suddenly struck me that I hadn't bought a pineapple. So when something strikes you, it's when you realise something.
Or a rainbow. You shouldn't buy a rainbow.
No, you should never buy a rainbow. Okay, so these jokes all work by using what we call homophones.
Homophones.
And that is the key to understanding a lot of terrible English jokes.
Just a minute.
Okay?
I want this.
So these are two words that sound the same with a different meaning.
My lovely glowing up, lovely water fountain.
Sound the same but with a different meaning.
Every time I play with my rainbow water fountain, I just love it. I
Myrtle.
just scream and play.
So that's why these jokes work, because they have a different they sound the same with a different meaning. So that's why they are confusing. And these jokes are called puns. Okay. So it's like a pun or
A pun to forget you bought a toy
Yeah.
for your child.
Play on words.
Like, you forgot to buy a toy for your dog.
So have any of you been to England before?
Me.
Has anyone that's watching today been to England before, and have you had to try and understand the English sense of humour, or talk to people and found them very strange? So sometimes people say things in a very serious way and then laugh. It's like they'll say something, we say with a very straight face, so without smiling at all, and they'll be making a joke, but they won't laugh, and it's very confusing. What kind of humour do you have in Russia? What kind of, do you have sitcoms? Do you have stand-up comedy? What do you watch, and what kind of comedy do you like? So English people love sitcoms, and we have lots of stand-up comedy. So most nights on TV there will be channels which are just comedy, lots of silly things, and lots of very good stand-up comedians.
Programs.
There's a program that I like to watch which is called
And there's bedtime programs for me.
Live at the Apollo. I don't understand British if they polite. Yeah, I know. That's it's confusing.
Stand-up comedy.
Apollo. This is a good program. Yeah. So sometimes people metal. People do. Yeah, they say things, but they'll say it in a like. Okay, so they'll be being sarcastic. Sometimes we use sarcasm in a really rude way. So sometimes we're just joking. And sometimes we'll use it in quite a rude way, like, I don't know, if somebody was holding a door open to let another person through, and that person walked through and they didn't say thank you, they just walked through and ignored the other person, the person holding the door might say, "Oh, you're welcome," in a sarcastic way, and then they're being kind of cheeky and a bit rude as well, because they think the other person was rude. Yeah, a lot of it is confusing because we say things that we don't mean to be, and then it's like sarcastic or being ironic about things as well. So we also have a lot of programs which use satire, so making jokes about politics and people in positions of power. There's a lot of TV programs that do. I mean, we have a whole TV program called The Windsors, which is taking the mickey out of the royal family. So it's the whole. It's like actors, comedians who are actors, all pretending to be the royal family, and they are just taking the mickey, so making fun of the royal family. And we have lots of programs like that. Also, a famous program it was from the 90s now, but it was called Spitting Image, and they had puppets, and they were all making fun of politicians and celebrities, and I don't know if it works in the same way in other countries, if it's allowed, or you do these sorts of things, but we do a lot of that in England. And also, like really serious situations, you will find that the first thing that will happen in England, if there's a serious situation, then there will be a joke made about it on social media or something like this. So, for example, obviously it's coronavirus at the moment, and it's a serious situation, and people are panic buying and buying lots of things from the supermarket, and on Facebook and social media there are jokes all the way through about the coronavirus, And so it's like the biggest situation in the news at the moment is the biggest problem the country is facing, and English people make jokes about it. And it will be on TV, Comedy Tonight, there will be programmes and they'll be making jokes about it, because that's how we deal with these situations in England. And we make jokes out of serious things. We have an expression which is you either laugh or you cry. So basically it means you're going to laugh about something. So you either laugh or you cry, which basically means you're going to laugh about it, because if you don't laugh, it's such a terrible situation, you will cry. So you either laugh or you cry. So it means you're going to make a joke about this thing. Even if it's something really serious, you're going to make a joke about it, because if you don't make a joke about it, then you're going to feel really sad, and it's going to make the situation seem even more serious. Okay? That's what we do. We make a joke out of it. And it can be confusing. It can be really confusing, because you have to understand. I mean, even sometimes now, even people I know, and sometimes I say things, because I make jokes out of everything. And I always say things, and sometimes I see people's reaction. You think, oh, they didn't realise I was joking, and you have to say, oh, I was joking.
And sometimes I say something about you, and when you were little, and I don't like it, and I cry.
Yeah. So you always have to, you have to sort of, I suppose, check your audience so they understand that you are joking. So, for example, I can't remember, I said something to my mum the other day, and she didn't understand it. She didn't see the joke at all. I can't think of the example now. But usually I'm being sarcastic. I'm quite sarcastic as well. So,
Mama, some surprising colours come up.
I'm going to see you this one.
And my rainbow thing, and
So,
I've never had them on before.
I don't know if you've heard this one, but one of the jokes, I'm not going to type it actually because it won't work. So another silly joke that we have is some man says, my dog's got no nose. And his friend says, oh, that's terrible. How does he smell then? And the man says, awful. Okay, so my dog has no nose. So how does he smell? And the man's meaning, how does he smell other things with his nose? Because he doesn't have a nose. And the first man says, awful. Meaning that he smells terrible. The dog smells terrible. Again, it's not that funny. These jokes aren't very funny. Okay. Does anyone have any questions? Has anyone watched any stand-up comedy? Have you seen any English comedians? Has anyone seen anything? Has anyone seen any stand-up comedy in English, or watched any sitcoms? Does anyone have any questions? Has anyone heard anything that they didn't understand when they were in England, or that they've seen on TV that they didn't understand?
Smell this.
Okay.
Smells like sitcom.
No. Okay. Has anyone got any questions about anything else in English, or anything that they haven't understood recently and weren't sure about? No.
Nope.
Okay. So, other things that you'd find that the stand-up comedians do in English, in England, is that they make jokes out of daily life. So they will watch the news and things that are going on, everyday situations. Oh, there are questions. Oh, sorry. Sorry, I didn't see the questions. Oh, my favourite joke. I've done it. Yeah, I've got it. It's okay. It's because I had...
my baby.
Sorry, I had it at the wrong part of the conversation. What is my favourite joke? How to start email if I want to complain. Oh, it's for your exam. Okay. So, what is the complaint that you have? So, I mean, I would start that, so it would be to dear sir or madam, or to the name of the person that you have. And have you taken the exam? Is it something to do with when you took the exam, or is it something to do with, like, what's the situation? Because that will sort of depend on how you write it. So if, for example, if you've just taken the exam and you thought that you weren't happy with the situation, you could say, dear sir or madam, I have recently taken the exam at your school or at your establishment, and I'm not happy with, or I've had a problem with. So it depends on what if you can tell me a bit more about the situation, I can probably help you a bit more clear. But I would start off with dear sir or madam, or dear Mr. or Mrs. And then go on to explain. Excuse me 1 second. Could you take Myrtle downstairs, please?
No, I want to stay with you.
Okay, so it would be dear sir or madam, I have taken the exam. I've taken the exam recently with you, and I'm not happy about, or I've had a problem with, and then go on to explain. So maybe, I don't know, was it to do with the exam centre? Not sure. Oh, you have to... Oh, sorry! Sorry. You have to write a letter for FCE. Okay, so FCE question. Yeah, so I would start it... If they don't give you the name of the person, so sometimes they give you the facts about it, so they tell you what the problem is, or they give you the name. But if they don't give you the name, it's dear sir or madam. And then you explain the situation. So I came to your shop recently to buy an item, and you explain the situation, and then you go on to say why there was a problem. So, okay, maybe, for example, I came to your restaurant for a meal with my friend, and we had been looking forward to this for a long time, but when the food came, it was cold, and we didn't enjoy our meal because of this, and so on. So you explain the problem. Unfortunately, this ruined our meal, and would you consider giving us a refund, or something along these lines. So basically you start off and you explain what the situation was and what you had a problem with, and then how you would like to resolve the problem. So maybe make a suggestion, perhaps you would consider giving us a refund, or a free meal in your restaurant, something like this. So you just have to sort of say it, but you don't use it in a try not to sound angry. So it's just, you use polite language. So we came to your meal for a restaurant and we had been looking forward to it for a long time. However, when our food arrived, it was cold, and this ruined the meal for us, so on and so forth. So it has to sound polite, okay, without sounding angry. You've got a horrible restaurant. You don't. That's not what you put, okay. So it just has to be sort of polite and to the point. So concise, because I know you have a word limit. How soon finish this complaint? How soon finish? Oh, how soon? How long? Well, they usually give you a word limit, don't they? Is it 150 or 250 words? So you explain the situation, explain what the problem was, and how it could be resolved. So it's quite short. It's quite a short letter, I think, because you don't have many words. Oh, sorry, how to finish. How to finish. If you start with dear sir or madam, you would finish with yours sincerely. Okay, so if it's a formal letter to somebody you don't know, you would say yours sincerely. Okay, best regards is normally when it's to somebody who you know, or you've put in, dear Mrs. So and so, and you probably know them on better terms. Okay. All right. What was the other question? I didn't see the other question. My favourite joke. I don't know. That's a terrible question. What is my favourite joke? I did read something funny actually. I'm going to tell you this joke because it made me laugh because I was looking up jokes for this and they were all really bad, but this one made me laugh and I'm going to have to explain it. Hang on, where's it gone? It's funny. It's not my favourite joke. I don't have a favourite joke, I don't think. I probably do, but I can't remember. So this joke was, where is it? Okay, right. Sorry, I have to read it. A man walks into a doctor's with a cucumber up his nose, a carrot in his left ear, and a banana in his right ear. He asks the doctor, "What's wrong with me?" And the doctor says, "You're not eating properly." Do you get it? Get it? No. So he goes into the doctor. He has a cucumber up his nose. He has a carrot in one ear. He has a banana in the other ear. And he says to the doctor, "What's wrong with me?" And the doctor says, "You're not eating properly." Ta-da! It's not funny. So it means, like, if we say, in England, if we say you're not eating properly, it means you're not eating a healthy diet. Okay? But this is obviously really stupid because he's not eating properly because he's putting the food in his ears and up his nose. It made me laugh last night when I was looking up jokes for this. But there are lots of really stupid jokes like that that I like, and they're really bad, but I find them quite funny. But I like all jokes. I like. There's a comedian. Oh my goodness, what's his name? Tim Vine. Yes, and he's all his jokes are puns. So they are all plays on words. So it's if you watch it, you have to understand how the English language works, and you have to understand homophones and things like this to get the joke. But he's so funny. He's so quick and clever that it makes me laugh. His name's Timothy Vine. But they are, they're the sort of jokes that make you go. That you go, oh, like, oh, it's they're bad, but they're good because they're still funny. But other comedians that I like are lots of the comedians I like. The jokes are quite rude sometimes, so they might be difficult to follow as well in that sense. I'm afraid. Coronavirus is sending my house crazy. We will all be mad. So we have a week where we can't leave the house, so we're all going to be insane by then. Oh, hiya! I didn't realise you were here. In Russia, we watch a late-night talk show similar to an American one, hosted by Jimmy Fallon. There is a lot of human flourishment. Do you? Yeah. We call chat shows. So we have chat shows which have famous people, and the famous people with so a popular one in England. I think it's on Friday or Saturday night. Is with Graham Norton, and he's really popular and he's funny. He's funny as well, and he's a comedian and he's an actor and he's on the radio, and he has guests come on as well, and they talk and they make jokes and having. I like on a Friday night. I like a program called Last Leg. And that is hosted by 3 comedians. So there's 3 comedians that host the show. So when I say host, I mean they present the show, and then they have people coming on, but they talk about politics from the week and everything that has been on Twitter, and it's very funny, and it's everything that's been in the news, all the important news stories of the week, and they just make jokes about it. So yeah, it is funny, and again, that's the English sense of humour. If there's a serious situation, something bad is happening in our country, and they're just making a joke about it. That's I don't understand. Do people do this in Russia? Do people make jokes out of like serious situations, or would that not happen? Like, do you joke about politics and things like that in Russia? Because in England we do it a lot. Yeah, it's tricky. Oh, yeah. So mainly stand up. I think stand up comedy does that a lot as well. The same type of show. Yeah, yeah. All news shows. I think there may be. I can think maybe four comedy shows that are regularly on TV, and they are about news and politics and making jokes about it. And politicians go onto these programs, and the comedians will make fun of the politicians on TV. You know, they will make jokes about them whilst they're on TV with them. So yeah, and we have another thing. We say that people in England, they say things in what we call a tongue-in-cheek fashion. So if you say something in tongue-in-cheek, it means you're being cheeky, you're joking. You know, you say something that might be considered rude or inappropriate, but you say it in a way and you smile and you laugh when you say it, and then you get away with it so people don't get upset. So it's like being cheeky, I think, is probably how you would know it. We say tongue in cheek, it's like being cheeky, and yeah, trying to say something with a smile on your face so that you don't upset people and offend anybody, even though you've said something really awful, probably. So we do that a lot as well. But yeah, so if you're in England and somebody says something to you and you think, oh my goodness, that seems a little bit rude, they might not be being rude. Fingers crossed, they're just joking. But it's difficult to tell, and it's a difficult thing to explain, because unless you live unless you live in the country and spend a long time talking with people, it's quite hard to get a feel for what is a joke and what's not, and that's the difficult thing, I think, to understand, because even English people get it wrong sometimes. So it's hard to. But I think, I mean, I don't know if you guys are likely, probably not now because of coronavirus, but if you come to England, you know, spending time just speaking to English people, going out to the pub and, you know, spending time with groups of English people, you'll soon realise when they're joking and when they are not. I mean, I know that when I teach in the classroom, I often make jokes about things, and I always make jokes about myself, and sometimes I say things and the classroom goes silent, and it's like, oh, and then I realise that nobody understands the joke, and then I have to explain it, and it's terrible. Terrible. So it's quite hard. Okay, so does anybody have any questions that they would like to ask about English? Yes, we can. We can travel. I can't now because at the moment. So yesterday, the news yesterday evening, the Prime Minister said that as of now, if we have a cough or a temperature or any signs of coronavirus, we have to stay in our house for 7 days. My daughter has had a cold for 5 days already, and she's, as you can see from earlier, she's feeling much better. But because she still has a cough, I have to keep her inside for 7 days. So that's the rules at the moment. If I didn't have a cough, or my daughter didn't have a cough, I would be allowed to travel. So we can still travel to other countries. We can still go anywhere in the world. Yeah, that's the rules at the moment. So if you have a cough, you have a temperature, you have to stay inside. But if you're healthy and you seem okay, you are free to travel if you choose to. So I have tickets booked to go to Australia in 2 weeks. to visit family out there, but I'm not sure if we're going to be allowed to, because I'm not sure if Australia is going to stop people coming into their country. Like America has now said that nobody from Europe can go to America, but English people can. And I don't know if Australia are going to do the same thing, or if they're going to stop us all. Come to Russia. Yeah, what? I see. Yeah, I should come and have a holiday in Russia, because you don't have much coronavirus there, do you? But it's so cold. You know, I was looking for sunshine. When does the sun come out in Russia? Is it soon? Or is it still really cold? I bet it's still really cold, isn't it? Because I want some sunshine. I'll come to Russia. I think I'll have to come to Russia either when there's lots of snow, so it's really exciting, lots of snow, or in the summer. I don't want just cold. But I would like to come to Russia. I would like to go to Moscow and have a look around, because I've never been. It's on my list of countries to visit. So yeah, I will. I will one day. And then I'll have to try and understand Russian and understand the Russian sense of humour, which could be difficult. Is it good? Is it warm in April? Where do you live? Do you live in Moscow, or are you somewhere else? Oh, so cute. Ah, thank you. I've never been told that before. Or do you mean my daughter? My daughter's cute. I don't think I am. Thank you very much. Okay. Does anyone else have any questions that they would like to know? I'm sorry if English humour is confusing. It's confusing for all of us, so please don't feel that it's just because you're not English. I think we find it confusing too. And I think every nationality finds English people confusing. Oh, you're near Moscow. Okay, so Moscow will be warm in April, you think? Okay. Oh, I am. Okay. Thank you very much, I think. Okay. Right, so if there are no more questions, I think I shall have to go downstairs and try to make my daughter go to sleep, which is like mission impossible, I think, today, because she's wild. She's been trapped indoors all day. I don't know. Maybe this time next week we will all be completely crazy in this house, because we will have been inside for 7 days. So who knows what will happen. Anyway, thank you all for joining me, and if there are no more questions, I will say goodbye and have a lovely evening, and I will see you all next week. Okay, thanks a lot. See you later. Bye bye. Oh, where am I from? So yeah, I'm from Suffolk, which is we are north of London, about an hour and a half from London. Yeah, so Suffolk it's called. I will type it for you. There you go. Oh, you're welcome. And I apologise for my noisy little helper at the beginning. She's just going a bit crazy at the moment, so hopefully she'll be asleep next time we do Instagram. Okay. Have a good evening. Have a good weekend as well. See you later. Bye bye.